Warren Harding, and this is action in the fourth quarter. A costly foul, really a questionable call. Harley Keller of Harding is called for the charge. The score was 60 apiece. They went into the first overtime. Now Darrell Jones, number 13, hits this shot to tie it at 64. Then Jason Roller in the second overtime. After a missed shot, he gets his own rebound, puts it in 66-64 in favor of the Irish. Now, later, a missed shot from the foul line. Eliza Lawrence gets it for Harding, ties the score at 66. Later on, Harding had the basketball after a bucket by Ursuline. Harding had the basketball leading 69-68. On the foul line, Dave Arnold missed. The ball was knocked away from Eliza Lawrence, and look at this fast break. Darrell Jones will end up getting the bucket with about 5 seconds to go. Nice pass. Jones lays it in. Time runs out on Warren Harding. The final 70-69 in favor of the Irish. They are 7-1 and 1-1 in the Steel Valley. Harding drops to 5-3. They're also 1-1. Elsewhere in the Steel Valley was Howland.
Back here at Mollenkoff Stadium before the start of tonight's ball game between the Niles McKinley Red Dragons and the Warren G. Harding Panthers. It's homecoming here at Harding, so there'll be a little delay maybe in the start of the ball game. We'll look at the Niles starting lineup. At one offensive tackle, we got number 51, Bruce Estes, a 6'2", 220-pound senior. At the other tackle, we've got Terry Howell, number 55. He's a 6', 225-pound junior. At one guard, we've got number 52, George Rogers, a 5'11", 203-pound senior. At the other guard, we got number 77, Jim Gundros, a 6', 219-pound senior. These guys aren't tall, but they're well put together. At center, number 54, John D'Alessandro, 6'1", 231-pound senior. The wide receivers, we've got number 47, Mike Saban, 6'2", 185-pound junior. The tight end is Denny Lovelace, number 48. He's a 6'4", 220-pound senior. Alternating with them will be number 22, Aaron Bonner, a 5'10", 168-pound junior. In the backfield, number 30, Ron Eulery, a 5'10", 175-pound senior. The fullback will be number 36, Dana Cicero, 5'8", 165-pound senior. And the quarterback will be number 11, John Lamonge, 5'10", 160-pound junior. John Capranis had a chance to talk to the head coach of the Niles McKinley Red Dragons, Bill Leonard, and here's Bill's observations on tonight's ball game.
We're talking to Bill Leonard, currently in his first year as head coach of the Niles McKinley Red Dragons. And Bill, last week you lost the Cardinal money 17-7, but you have to be pleased with the way that the ball players put out.
Yes, especially in the second half. The kids came out and really got off the line of scrimmage, blocked well, and played much better defensively. But offensively, we were pleased with the progress the kids had made. I think they found some confidence in themselves, and we moved the ball well against them on one long drive and took it in for a score. And time ran out. We just didn't have the ball enough times to score many more. But we were pleased with the second half effort of the kids, and we feel that we were going to try to build on that and get ready for tonight's game.
Injuries have played your ball club. One, for example, is your senior quarterback, Marino. Is he still out?
Yes, he is. He's a fine young man. He worked hard in the off-season. We think he's an outstanding quarterback. He has real good quickness. He's got a strong arm. And he got hurt in our first scrimmage in the preseason and really has played very sparingly. Only a couple games. He got hurt in a couple of those, re-injured his shoulder, and will not play tonight. And the kid really feels terrible. It just tears him up to see that he doesn't have the opportunity to come in here and play for us. And but we hope that Tim's working right now on some therapy, and hopefully before the end of the year he'll be ready to go and play some ball for us.
Now you're going to face a Warren Harding ball club that has the traditional tough Warren Harding defense. How do you plan to attack it, Bill?
Well, we feel that you know, they're a big, strong football team. They're 250 and 3 people across the front 4, and so they have a lot of size and strength, and we just feel that we're going to have to get some movement at the line of scrimmage and in order to move the football on the ground against them, and we feel we're probably going to have to throw the football, and we're going to have to throw it effectively.
Injury-wise, besides Marino, how do you stack up?
Well, we have some bumps and bruises from last week. Gary Joseph, one of the kids that's hurt, is questionable tonight. We have a couple other kids who may see limited action because of their injuries, but we feel overall we're pretty healthy.
Bill, always a pleasure talking to you, and best of luck to you and Niles McKinley.
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Bill Leonard, head coach of the Niles McKinley Red Dragons, who are coming into tonight's ball game with a 2-4 record. Right now, let's look at the Niles McKinley record, how they've come to be 2-4. They opened the season on a game you saw here on Pilot 9 with against the fine Hubbard Ball Club. They were defeated that night 20-6. Then they faced the Cleveland East Ball Club. They beat Cleveland East 27-8. Followed that back-to-back with the Campbell Memorial victory. They beat Campbell Memorial 12-0. Then they faced Warren Western Reserve at Niles in a game you were supposed to see on Pilot 9, but due to circumstances beyond our control, we couldn't bring it to you. Reserve defeated the Niles McKinley Red Dragons 29-6. Then the big blowout on Niles' schedule, they faced a good Austintown Fitch Ball Club, and Austintown Fitch pounded Niles McKinley 51-6. Then last week, the game that Cap was referring to, the Youngstown Cardinal Mooney Cardinals beat these Niles McKinley Red Dragons 17-7. Let's now take a look at the starting offensive lineup for the Warren G. Harding Panthers. At one tackle, number 79, Jim Bell, 6'3", 230-pound senior. At the other tackle, number 75, Travis Davis, 6'3", 250-pound senior. At one guard, number 62, Marlon Seals, 5'9", 239-pound senior. At the other guard, number 54, a name close to my heart, John Church, 5'11", 185-pound senior. The center, number 60, Mike Bell, 5'8", 175-pound senior. The wide receiver will be number 37, Robert Murray, 5'6", 140-pound junior. He'll alternate with number 82, Stanley Owens, a 6'1", 145-pound junior. The other wide receiver, a name well known throughout Trumbull County, number 16, David Arnold, 6'4", 183-pound senior. In the backfield, a name that's been carried around Trumbull County quite well this year, number 9, Willie Perez, 5'8", 167-pound senior. The wingback, number 23, Ken Ash, 5'10", 140-pound senior. And the other running back will be number 38, Alan Caldwell, 5'8", 145-pound senior. And doing the quarterbacking for Warren G. Harding, number 12, Harley Keller, 6'1", 176-pound senior. John Capranis also had the chance to speak with Frank Thomas, and here are his observations as the season has gone so far and what he looks forward to tonight.
Talking with Frank Thomas, currently in his third year as head mentor of the Warren Harding Panthers. Frank, frustration probably has to be one of the descriptions that'll fit your attitude right now.
Well, at times it is, but, you know, it seems like you're really frustrated on a Friday and a Saturday, definitely after a game like, you know, like these 2 7-6 defeats, and Sunday's tough, but, you know, come Sunday morning when you start looking at film of the other team, it kind of brings you back to earth, and you realize that you have somebody else to get ready for. You have another challenge, and, you know, you can't live on, you know, last week's good points or bad points. You know, you have to start over every week, every Monday. So, you know, we kind of put it back on the back shelf, and we talked about Niles, and that's all we can do.
The rivalry between Niles, McKinley, and Warren Harding still as fierce as it once was.
Well, I think it is. You know, if it was the last game of the season, I think the fans probably would feel the same way. But I know that for the players, it's a pretty intense rivalry, as is the Howland game and as is the reserve game. And I think the reason is because the kids socialize so much more now between schools than I think maybe when I was in high school or you were in high school, and everybody goes to the same gathering spots and everyone knows one another. So, you know, we kind of look at this as the second chapter in Trumbull County bragging rights. So we've got to, you know, for our kids' sake, I think they realize that, you know, they want to be able to hold their head high for the rest of this year. They have to beat Niles.
One of the problems facing your team this year is the inability to put points on the board. What are you trying to do to correct that?
Well, we're not really trying to dwell on it. I think that's one thing that really tends to hurt a lot of kids and to hurt football teams, when you start to dwell on a lot of things and you start saying, well, we can't score, we can't kick extra points, we can't do this, and then before you know it, you know, our kids don't believe that to start with. And if I dwell on it and everyone else dwells on it, and before you know it, maybe they start to think that. But we're looking at it as we have to execute. There's a three phases getting ready for a game. That's physically being ready, in good shape, ready to go on a Friday night, and, you know, execution-wise and mental mistakes. And, you know, we have to do that in practice with assignments and so on. And then we look at the third part being, mentally ready to play a football game, and we try to accomplish those three things every week, and that's what we really emphasize for this week.
Outside of 4 points, you'd be coming in here undefeated tonight.
Well, that would be, very pleasurable to be that way, but, we're 3-3, and we have nothing to be ashamed of, and we're just going to line up, and hopefully 48 minutes from now, we're going to be 4-3.
Frank, it's always a pleasure talking to you, and good luck tonight with Warren.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll see.
That was Frank Thomas, and it's like he says, it's kind of a fact that you got to forget about, what happened last week and the past couple weeks, but like Cappy said, it's 7 points one way or the other during the season, and Harding could be 6-0. Let's look at the Harding season just for the record. They opened the season against Akron East in a 12-0 victory over Akron East. Then came the first of 3 close losses. They lost to Youngstown East 14-12. Then they faced the Massillon High Tigers on a game you saw here on Pilot 9. They beat a good Massillon football team 18-6. Then they played their backyard rival Howland. They shut out Howland 13-0. Then they went down to YSU and were defeated by Youngstown Cardinal Mooney 7-6. Then they went to Boardman, and again extra points failed them, and they lost to Boardman again 7-6. Looking at the rest of the schedule, Harding's got Ursuline next week. Then they go to Austintown Fitch. Then they have Warren Western Reserve. On the Niles schedule, they have Boardman next week, Ursuline the following week at YSU, and then they finish their season against the Howland Tigers. And Cap, it's a fact that, they both played Mooney. They both scored 1 touchdown against Mooney, and, they're not going to win the Steel Valley, but they might have something to say about it.
They definitely will, Bob. You got to look tonight for a defensive struggle between 2 excellent defensive ball clubs. But again, both offensive teams do have the potential to put some points on the board. Unfortunately, as we talked about before, the inability to do that has really hindered both Niles McKinley and Warren Harding. So remains to be seen exactly what we're going to be seeing in tonight's ballgame. Willie Perez from Warren Harding is certainly, as you indicated, one of the top running backs, not only in Trumbull County, but probably in Northeast Ohio. On the other side of the coin, we talked about Tim Marino's injury with Bill Leonard. One thing that we have to point out is the young man that's taken over for him, junior quarterback John Lamonge, certainly has done an exceptional job as far as the QB spot is concerned for the Red Dragons.
That's right, Cap. You were mentioning Perez, and you can't take nothing away from Willie. He's done a heck of a job. But when you mention names like Bonner and Cicero, and those are names that ring well through the Niles halls and through Niles football history. So you know that they've got football in them, and this could be an exceptional football game.
From a football coach's standpoint, I know both Bill Leonard and Frank Thomas, as we have the Warren Harding alma mater in the background, both coaches have a number of ball players going both ways. This is the 7th game of the 1984 season. When does that start to affect the ball player's ability?
It's kind of hard to answer, Cap, because in a season where one of these ball clubs, like, let's take Harding, for example, if they'd be 5-1 or 6-0, we would have a situation where I don't think it would bother you as much. But then, you come back and you lose 3 games by 4 points, and it starts to hurt a little more. I mean, you got to get up Saturday morning and you look back and you hear the score on the radio, you lose 7-6 or something like that, and the bumps and bruises hurt a little more because you went out and gave 110% at every position and you're short. Okay, maybe the other team outplayed you and you got beat, but if you were 5-1 or 6-0, I don't think it would hurt as bad. It might start to take its toll a little further down the season.
And as far as high school athletes are concerned, offensively, you have the potential to score points, but things just aren't clicking 100%. Mental attitude-wise, how do you keep yourself up there?
Hopefully it'll break for you one game. It's like, in any game you play or sports, that's what's great about sports. You can, you keep plugging and keep plugging, and hopefully sooner or later things will break for you, and that's what you're hoping for tonight.
It is homecoming here at Mollenkopf Stadium for Warren G. Harding High School. As soon as we get the information as to who the queen is and her court, we'll pass them on to you. But nevertheless, there they are coming off the field to the Warren Harding fight song.
The lady in your picture right there is Kim Wallace. She's also a Warren G. Harding High majorette, and I didn't catch a picture. That's her Billy Reck, her escort. So it looks like Kim Wallace won the election for homecoming queen. Congratulations to Kim and her court.
We're moments away from kickoff time here at Mollenkopf Stadium, the 68th clash between Niles McKinley and Warren Harding, and we'll be back with more pregame activities plus the opening kickoff of tonight's ball game. But first, we're going to pause for this message.
Checks and cash are a treat, and it would sure be neat to deposit them now and get a written receipt.
Can do. With Genie, you can do.
You've got a savings account, but what's the total amount? The office is closed, how can you find out?
Can do. With Genie, you can do.
Check balances, make deposits, and a whole lot more. It's easy and fun with Genie.
The all-new Crown Ford in Warren makes buying a new car easy with high trade-in allowances, large selection, no hassle dealing, low prices, and excellent service. At Crown Ford in Warren, they treat you like royalty without charging you a king's ransom. For the best in sales, service, leasing, and customer satisfaction, it's the all-new Crown Ford. Crown Ford, 2532 Youngstown Road Southeast on the Strip in Warren.
Back here at Mollenkoff Stadium, right preceding the kick between the Warren G. Harding Panthers and the Niles McKinley Red Dragons. There you see number 12, Harley Keller, preparing to kick off. Before we get to kickoff, let's go through the officials. Some prominent names in officiating here tonight. The referee, Ted Humphrey, who also does USL football games. Now they're switching sides. The umpire is Joe Demore. The linesman, an NFL official, Bob Walker. The line judge is Johnny Mang. And the back judge, Ken Swanson. And here to kick off our coverage of the ball game tonight is the voice of Pilot 9 Sports, John Capranis.
Okay, Bob Church, thank you very much. Warren Harding doing the kicking off, and as soon as we get things squared away, the Panthers will be defending the goal to our left, the north goal here at Mollenkoff Stadium. Warren Harding 3-3 on the current campaign, 1-1 in the Still Valley Conference, and Niles McKinley 2-4 overall, and 0-2 in the SVC. Harley Keller getting set to boot the ball away for Warren Harding, and the deep men for Niles McKinley just saw a shot of them. Aaron Bonner, Carmen Hudson, and Dana Cicero. All three of them standing back at about their own 8-yard line. So Keller all set to go, taking over for the injured Teddy Bartholomew, and the 68th meeting between Warren Harding and Niles McKinley is underway. That's Carmen Hudson at the 15 to the 20, 25, 30, 35, up to the 36-yard line. 21-yard return by Carmen Hudson to open up the ball game, and that's where the Red Dragons will put it in play. First down, 10 yards to go. The ball at their own 36-yard stripe. Quarterback again in the backfield for Niles McKinley. Number 11, John Lamonge, 160-pound junior. The fullback, number 45, Jimmy Liebert, 185-pound senior. And the two halfbacks, number 30, Ron Ullery, number 36, Dana Cicero, running out of the I formation to open things up. Liebert has the ball, has 3 yards up to the 39-yard line.
Nothing tricky about that play, Cap. Straight up the middle, and they tested the size of the Harding defense. It's kind of surprising because Coach Leonard was talking about the size of the Harding defense, and there he goes right up the middle trying to beat it.
Two defensive tackles for Warren Harding. Number 75, Travis Davis, goes 260 pounds, and his counterpart, number 76, Donnell Waite, goes 250 pounds. Running right at them on first down. Now let's call it second down, 8 yards to go from their own 38-yard line. Option play, a little bit of running room as Ullery crosses the 40, gets up to the 44-yard line. Number 16 from his right side cornerback spot, Dave Arnold, coming up to make the stop. It'll be about a 5-yard pickup for Ullery and set up our first third down conversion attempt of the ball game. Third down, about 3 yards to go for the Red Dragons from their own 44-yard line.
That play was well set up by the first play, Cap. They pitched it into the middle and made the tackles tighten down. Then on the second play from scrimmage, they swept it wide. Good block by Cicero, and Ullery picked up 5 yards.
Ullery flanked right side. Draw play, delay draw. Does not fool the Warren Harding defense. Fumble after the knee went down. Believe Dana Cicero, the ball carrier, he was upended right at the 44-yard line, the original line of scrimmage. And the last man to get off the stack for Warren Harding, left tackle Travis Davis, number 75. So that will set up our first punting situation of the ball game. Jeff Prox to do the booting from his own 31-yard line. Willie Perez, one of the two deep men for Warren Harding, back at their own 20-yard stripe. Panthers going for the run back, a boomer by Prox, taken at the 16-yard line, looking for running room to the 20. Flag on the play, will have a clip as the ball carrier down at the 21-yard line.
That was
Vince Galladay returning the punt by Prox 6 yards, but a nice boot by Prox, Bob.
high spiraling kick, Cap. 46 yards on the punt. Gives your punt team time to get down and cover up. Illegal block from behind called on the Panthers. That'll be a half the distance to the goal, which will probably put it somewhere down around the 9-yard line. Not a place where you really want to start your offense from on your first series. Here we have another look at the punt. There you see it. Nice high kick. Plenty of time for the punt coverage team to get down. Didn't get a chance to see the illegal block, but there you see plenty of punt coverage for the Niles McKinley Red Dragons. 1st and 10 on the 10 for Warren G. Harding with 10-13 in the first quarter.
In the backfield for the Panthers, the quarterback, number 12, Harley Keller. The running back behind him, number 9, Willie Perez. Perez has the ball, has 1 yard up to the 10-yard line. Defensively, if you're Niles McKinley, the man that you point to lead your defensive unit, Terry Howe, defensive tackle. He was in on the stop. 1 yard pickup for Perez. 2nd down, 9 yards to go for Warren Harding. Perez averaging 4.6 yards per crack coming into the ball game. 81 carries, 374 yards. So that'll set up a 2nd and 9 situation for the Panthers. And now Warren Harding out of the eye with Alan Caldwell, the deep man in the formation. He has the football, and he is upended after about a yard pickup. In fact, make that number 35, Robert Brown, with his first carry of the ball game, 185-pound junior. 1 yard pickup, 3rd down, 8 yards to go for the Panthers.
Fine tackle by Cicero, Cap. He didn't take the fake in the middle. He was waiting on Robert Brown to come around that end, and when he did, he caught him around the ankles and brought him down very easily.
3rd down and 7. Ball is on the Panthers' 12-yard line.
8 minutes, 55 seconds remaining first quarter. Dave Arnold will split to the left side. 3rd down, along 7 yards to go for Warren Harding. Green pass to Arnold. Running room, 30, or 20, 25, up to the 28-yard line. Flanker's screen that Warren Harding used so effectively against the Howland Tigers about 3 games ago. That time picking up 15 yards and the first down of the ballgame.
Oh, we were talking about that before the game, Cap. We saw him against Cardinal Mooney. Here you'll see it again. Arnold backs up, takes the whiteout screen from Keller, and then does a lot of it on his own. Picks up a good gain of 15 yards, and the first down of the ballgame belongs to Harding.
This time Dave Arnold split about 10 to the right side. Man in motion. Here we go the other way again to Arnold. 30, 35, Arnold 40, Arnold 42-yard line. Man shaken up for Warren Harding back at the 26-yard stripe. That's number 33, Alan Caldwell. But again, the wide receiver's screenplay works effectively for the Panthers. A pickup that time of 17 yards and the Panthers' first down of the ballgame.
Well, you got a gun, shoot it, Cap. Here we'll see it again. We go the other way, other side of the field. Again, Arnold. This time he had a little better blocking. Good tackle there by Eulery, number 30. And first down of the ball game, back-to-back for Harding, and they've got the ball on their own 42-yard line.
Arnold out of the ball game. Ball carrier is Vince Galladay, I do believe, gets up to about the 45-yard line. 3-yard pickup on the play, call it 2nd down, and 7 yards to go for the Panthers.
You got to keep him honest, Cap. You can't throw that wide out screen all night, so Galladay took the ball off the left tackle spot and picked up 3 yards.
7 minutes, 50 seconds remaining. First quarter, the Panthers on the move. Stanley Owens will flank to the left side. One back behind quarterback, Harley Keller. That's Willie Perez. Perez, the ball carrier, and he is hammered. That's the man you got to watch for if you're the Warren Harding offense. Number 55, Terry Howe. 225-pound junior tackle. Pins Perez for about a yard loss, and that'll set up 3rd down, 8 yards to go for Warren Harding.
Well, it's a surprise to me, Cap, that Perez even hung onto the ball. Howe hit him with everything he had, and there was nothing Willie could do about it, but hope to hold onto the ball and keep possession for the Panthers.
3rd and 8 from their own 44.5-yard line. This time Arnold back in the ball game. He'll split 10 to the right side. Osborne slotted right side. Keller to throw. Keller looking. Keller firing deep for Osborne. Incomplete at the 10-yard line. No, that was Dave Arnold. Arnold got his fingertips on the ball at the 10, but unable to hang on to it. And that will set up a 4th down punting situation for Warren Harding.
Well, 2 things on that play, Cap. I was surprised, maybe not surprised, but, you know, a little bit in awe of how much time Keller had to throw. Here you'll see it again. He's got plenty of time back there, and then he runs out of time, and he flings the ball about 50 yards in the air. And as you said, off the fingertips of Arnold.
John Church to do the booting from his own 31-yard line. Cicero back deep for Warren Harding. High spiraling kick by Church. Taken at the 19, to the 20, almost broke it to the outside. Cicero up to the 25-yard line.
35-yard kick for Church, a 6-yard return for the Niles Red Dragons. They'll have the ball for a second time on the 26-yard line, 1st and 10 with 6:44 in the quarter.
First time Niles McKinley had their hands on the football. Did not go to the air. Let's see what they do this time around. Quarterback Lamonge a little slow coming in from the far sidelines. Still looking for the first tally of the ball game as we approach the halfway mark of quarter number 1.
Let's say hi to Mom.
Bonner flanked to the right side. Option, no, the ball on the straight handoff to, I believe, John Liebert. Liebert maybe for a yard up to the 27-yard line, but no more. Entire left side of the Warren Harding defense, and again, big number 75, Travis Davis, the last man off the stack for the Warren Harding defensive unit.
You're seeing some kind of pattern here early in the ballgame for Niles McKinley. We talked to Coach Leonard before the ballgame. He was talking about the size of the defense. First 2 times they've had the ball on 1st down plays, they run it inside. So look for something either on an option play or a fake into the middle and a pass after this one.
Power eye in the backfield. Halfback option. Ullery slips as he throws the ball. It's going to be incomplete. Bonner, the intended receiver at the 50-yard line, but turf a little treacherous in that particular portion of the field, and Ullery went to plant himself. Almost went down for a loss, but the incompleted pass will set up a 3rd and 10 situation.
On that play, Cap, it was kind of a shame that the Harding defenders didn't turn around, because that ball, as you'll see here, was about 5 yards underthrown. There you see the 2 Harding defenders. Dave Arnold was one. I didn't catch the number of the other one, but if they'd have turned around, they'd have had, you know, free football to themselves.
3rd down, a long 9 yards to go for Niles McKinley. Again, Bonner will flank to the right side. Liebert looking, Liebert getting pressure. Liebert gonna be sacked. Excuse me, Lamont gonna be sacked back at the 21-yard line. 5-yard loss on the play. Jim Bell, one of the men in there for the Warren Harding defensive unit. It'll set up a 4th down, the second punting situation of the ball game for Niles McKinley, and Jeff Prox back in to do the booting. He'll be standing inside his own 10-yard line. Prox really got off a boomer last time. High snap from center. Line drive kick this time. Perez takes it on the run. 50, 45, Perez 40. Perez still on his feet and knocked out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Willie Perez. What an exciting ball player this young man is. Punt return of 15 on the play, and the Panthers with excellent field position. 1st and 10 at the Niles McKinley 30-yard line.
That was a 28-yard punt. Didn't quite give his punt team as much time as he did on the first one to get down. And if you get the ball like you will on this one, the man can go with the football. Here you have another look at it. A little bit of a high snap, handles it well. Here we'll go back to live action.
Reuben Osborne in motion. Color gonna be hit, breaks one tackle, picks up a couple down to the 28-yard line. Broke the tackle of number 74, Brian Lilly, behind the line of scrimmage. Pickup of 2 on the play. In fact, let's give him 3 on the play and call it 2nd down, 7 yards to go for the Panthers. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining first quarter. Scoreless ball game.
Keller showed some courage there. He dropped back to pass, saw nobody open, and took it around the left side and picked up 3 yards, 2nd and 7.
Caldwell in motion. Perez on the sweep. Perez will not turn the corner. Gets 2 down to the 25-yard line, but no more. That'll set up 3rd down, about 5 yards to go for Warren Harding. Carmen Hudson in on the stop, along with number 55, Terry Howell.
On that play, Cap, to me it looked maybe like Perez was hesitating a little bit, like there might be some kind of, offense off of that. But when he finally put his head down, he picked up 2 yards, and it's 3rd and 5.
The field position of the first quarter belongs to Warren Harding right now. Ball inside the 25-yard line of Niles McKinley. 3rd down, about 5 yards to go for the Panthers. Keller looking. Keller getting pressure, setting up the screen right side, has Perez with blockers. Perez 20, Perez 15, Perez 10, Perez 5, Perez out of bounds, back at the 10-yard line. Willie Perez, excellently executed screen by Warren Harding that time. Pickup of 15, and for Warren Harding, their 3rd first down of the ball game.
Well, that was well executed. The offensive line blocked their man quickly, let him come through. There you see, looks like Keller's going to get really smashed. He finds Perez open on the right side, and Willie does a lot of it on his own, stepping out of bounds there on the 9-yard line. 1st and 10 for Warren Harding inside the Niles 10.
High in the backfield, ball carrier Reuben Osborne knifes his way down to the 5-yard line. Pickup of 5 on the play, 2nd down, 5 yards to go for the Warren Harding touchdown. 3 minutes, 10 seconds remaining of a scoreless first quarter, but the Panthers on the move.
Well, Cap, that's the 5th ball carrier for Warren Harding, so they're showing some diversification in their backfield troops. And the way the defenses for both teams have played lately, 1 touchdown might be enough to keep the other team at bay and win the ball game for you.
Perez and Robert Brown lining up behind quarterback Harley Keller. 2nd and 5. Brown with blockers. Brown for the touchdown. Robert Brown taking it in for the first score of the contest. It comes with 2 minutes, 45 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. And the Panthers draw first blood. They lead 6-0.
Well, Cap, that was a 7-play drive. As you see it here, Robert Brown off his left side. Good blocking by the left side of the line. That was a 7-play drive. They had excellent field position on the punt return by Willie Perez. They had it on the Niles 31. It was 7 plays, 31 yards, and it was 2 minutes and 7 seconds. So it didn't take long, but it was effective.
Keller on the extra point attempt. It is good. So with 2 minutes, 45 seconds remaining here in the first quarter, the score. Warren Harding 7, Niles McKinley nothing. Impressive drive by Warren Harding.
That's right, Cap. They used 4 different runners on that. The big play was the screen pass to Willie Perez that picked up 16 yards. And so Harding's showing some difference in their offense. They're throwing the ball more than I've seen them throw this year. And I guess when you, like you said, key on Perez, you've got other ball players out there that can do the job for you, and you got to find them and let them have their shot.
Harley Keller, what an athlete this young man is. He's from Southington, Ohio. If you look at the deep men going back for Niles McKinley, Aaron Bonner, Carmen Hudson, Dana Cicero. Harley Keller not only an excellent football player going both ways for the Panthers, also does the kicking for them now that Ted Bartholomew is hurt. Outstanding ground ball player, and also, I understand, Bob Church, an excellent baseball.
That's right, Cap. I was talking to some people from Southington earlier this summer, and they were telling me that this young man has like an 84-mile-an-hour fastball. So the potential's there as far as any of the 3 sports go.
Low kick. It'll be taken by Cicero at the 15. Looking for running room, being hemmed in, spilled back at the 18-yard line. Right a knife between 2 Warren Harding ball players, but brought down at the 18-yard line. And that's where the Red Dragons will put it in play. First down, 10 yards to go. Number 28 for the Warren Harding kickoff defense team, bringing down Cicero. That's Richard Allgood, 145-pound senior. First down, 10 yards to go for Niles McKinley.
There's a look at one of the linesmen. That's Mike Hudzik from Niles. I know him because I went to officiating class with him this year, and fine young man and potentially good football official.
High in the backfield. Option play, Lamont. Whoa, really hammered on the far sideline. Might have picked up a yard on the play up to the 19-yard line, but somebody really stuck it to him for the Warren Harding defense.
Maybe Bill Leonard knew what he was doing. The first 2 times they had the ball, they shoved it in the middle. They picked up 5 yards on one play and 3 yards on the other. This time Lamont tries to take it wide and only picks up 1, so it's 2nd and 9 for Niles on their own 19-yard line with a little over 2 minutes left in the first quarter.
Dimitri Leogas, number 61, the left side linebacker, getting credit for initial contact. 2nd down, 9 yards to go with 2:13 remaining first quarter, and the Red Dragons trailing Warren Harding 7-0. Cicero flanked to the left side. Lamont into the flat area, complete to Carmen Hudson. Hudson across the 20 up to the 23-yard line. Dave Arnold making the stop. Pickup of 4 on the play. Call it third down, about 5 yards to go for the Niles McKinley first down.
Well, if at first you don't succeed, you try something else, and that's what Niles McKinley did, as you'll see here. They faked it into the middle, bringing the linebacker up and the tackles in, and Lamonge completes the pass. Good for 4 yards, and that's their first completion. They're 1 of 2 for 4 yards.
Lamonge can throw the ball. Nice looking quarterback. Interceptions have been his bugaboo this year. Flags all over the place as Lamonge dropped back the pass.
Well, we saw that in our first game against Hubbard, Cap. They got down 2 touchdowns, and Lamonge showed that he wasn't afraid to put the ball up, and he's showing the same confidence tonight.
Procedure penalty against Niles McKinley will move it back to close to the original line of scrimmage, the 18-yard line, and set up third down and 10 yards to go for Niles McKinley.
Not a place where you want to have penalties. You don't want to have penalties anywhere, but when you've got to get out towards midfield, because you're going to put pressure on your offense, and then if you don't pick up any yardage, then you're going to put pressure on your punter, and with the pressure that Harding can put on a punter, it could be disastrous for Niles.
Bonner will split to the left side. Cicero will wing to the left side. Man in motion is Yolery. Lamonge looking, getting pressure, going to be sacked back at his own 15-yard line. George Riddle providing the sack for the Panthers. It'll go as a 3-yard loss on the play and set up a 4th down and 13 punting situation for Niles McKinley.
Well, Cap, Riddle stayed with it. There you see Lamonge looking downfield, rolling to his right. Riddle grabs him up around the shoulder pads and tears him away from the ground and brings him down. 29 seconds, last play of the first quarter for Niles McKinley.
Cox to do the booting from his own 2-yard line. Panthers again going for the return, and a nice high spiraling kick by Prox. Willie Perez trying to get to the outside, inside the 45 down to the 42-yard line of Niles McKinley. 5-yard return by Willie Perez off the punt of Jeff Prox of 32 yards, and that's where the Panthers will have it, 1st and 10, leading 7-0, and we may not get another playoff here in the first quarter. Clock inside 10 seconds. And that will be it. So the first quarter of the 68th meeting between Warren Harding and Niles McKinley is now history. The score, the Panthers 7, Niles McKinley nothing. We'll be back with second quarter action, but first we're going to pause for this message.
Back here at Mollenkoff Stadium, real quick look at the first quarter statistics. For Harding, they had 21 yards rushing, 3 of 4 through the air for 47 yards for a total of 68 yards. Niles McKinley, on the other hand, had 3 yards rushing, 1 of 2 for 4 yards passing for a total of 7 yards. The penalties, Niles had 1 for 5. Harding wasn't penalized. Harding had 3 first downs. Niles McKinley with nothing. Niles McKinley had the ball 6 minutes and 5 seconds. The Warren Harding Panthers had it 5 minutes and 55 seconds. Here was second quarter action, John Capranis.
First down, 10 yards to go for the Panthers from the Niles McKinley 42-yard line. Keller going for the bomb as Dave Arnold underthrows him. Ball almost intercepted at the 15-yard line. Playing defensive back that time for the Panthers, number 33, Alan Caldwell. I believe Ron Yolery almost coming up with a pickoff for the Red Dragons, and a Niles McKinley man hurt back at the original line of scrimmage, and also a flag on the play.
On that play, Arnold played defensive man, turned from offense to defense because the ball was a little bit underthrown, plus Niles had 2 men in the zone, so with the ball being underthrown, you don't want the other team to get it. We've got a looks like an unsportsmanlike foul of some type. Didn't get a preliminary signal. We'll get one for you as soon as the official gives it to us.
Somebody apparently for Niles McKinley throwing a forearm. Let's see what the infraction is. Ted Humphries will give us the call. Roughing the passer against Niles McKinley. A 15-yard infraction, moves it down to the Red Dragons' 27-yard line, and still no indication of the young man that's racked up for Niles McKinley. Looks like number 45. That's Jimmy Liebert. That's going to be a big blow to Niles McKinley if he's out of the ballgame. Starts at a linebacker spot for the Red Dragons. Also, their starting fullback, averaging 5.5 yards per crack thus far this year.
That was Harding's 4th first down at a ball game, Cap. They've had 3 through the air and this one on the penalty. When you have a quarterback like Keller, if you put some pressure on him and take him out of the ball game for a few plays, he's another one of them athletes that you lose. You know, you lose 2 or 3 different assets of your game because he's your kicker, he's your defensive back, and he's also your quarterback. So a lot of these kids for both schools going both ways, and it's probably starting to take their toll. You know, like I say, the bumps and bruises feel a little more, and you don't get up quite as fast as you did back in game 1 and game 2.
That was the first play of the second quarter. 11:54 remaining here in the first half. Panthers leading 7-0 due to a 30-yard drive the last time they had their hands on the football. 7 plays, 30 yards. The Panthers scoring the touchdown with 2:45 remaining in the first quarter. As you look at some of the cheerleaders for Warren Harding.
Might get some argument about that statement. I don't know. Talking about cheerleaders being number 1. That's another group of people that don't get the credit they deserve. They're here every game through, no matter what kind of weather. They stay around after school and practice, and you know, there's a job I want. I want to be a Panther. You know, I had a chance back in the 70s, and I just didn't have the motivation to do it. But it takes a lot of courage to go out there with that uniform on. And again, you got to be at every game, win, lose, or draw, and help the team, help the fans get the team up.
Tell Mike that I told the Duggar to get his ass.
Still attending to Jimmy Liebert back at the 44-yard line. Well, we had an injury situation up at Lakeview last week with one of the Newton Falls ball players. Jerry Rischel, the excellent Warren Harding trainer, along with the Niles McKinley training crew, out attending to.
Speaking of Lakeview, Cap, looking ahead to our Pilot 9 schedule down the road, next week we've got the Lakeview Bulldogs. They host the Liberty Leopards in a Trumbull AA League clash, and Lakeview's going to need some help if they want to win the Trumbull AA League, because LeBray just keeps right on rolling. The next day we come back with a Saturday afternoon ball game that you'll see Sunday, Girard and Poland at Poland, and those two teams to get together, it's always a tough, hard-fought football game. Then Poland again we see at Mollenkoff here, where they play the Warren John F. Kennedy Eagles, and John F. Kennedy got a shot as well as Lakeview at getting in computer playoffs. Then 2 backyard rivalries. You got Warren Reserve at Warren Harding and Niles McKinley at Howland. There's a look at the 1984 Harding homecoming queen, Kim Wallace. Again, congratulations to Kim and her court, and she's a nice young lady. I have the pleasure of knowing her, and she's a real fine young girl, and wish her the best.
Doesn't look too good for Jim Liebert. Congratulations to you, Kim, upholding the honor.
She doesn't talk much.
Maybe she can give a cheer.
She was a cheerleader last year. She's a majorette this year. Uh-oh, here comes the stretcher, so it definitely doesn't look good for Liebert.
Could be a knee problem. And if that's the case, tough blow for Niles McKinley and for Jimmy Liebert. Even the Warren Harding players showing excellent sportsmanship, applauding the Niles McKinley linebacker.
That's one thing I've got to say for, Trumbull County athletes. We had a game earlier where we had a Youngstown Ball Club, and there was some hard feelings. But basically, kids, that are playing high school sports are definitely good ball players, good kids, and show good sportsmanship, just as the Harding kids did there.
Hate to see that happen to anybody.
That's fact. You know, you don't want to see anybody get hurt. I mean, it's part of the game, but it's a part you don't really like to see. There you see our score, 7-0 with 11:54 in the first half. Harding ahead. And we're just waiting for them to escort Mr. Liebert off the field and take him to the hospital and see what happens. Hopefully it'll be all good as can be expected in the situation.
Getting an excellent round of applause from both sides of the field. One thing fans in Trumbull County do appreciate is good hard-nosed football, and Jimmy Liebert certainly exemplifies that. Play is resumed. 1st and 10 for Warren Harding at the 27-yard line of Niles McKinley, and as Bob Church just indicated, the Panthers leading 7-0. First play of the second quarter is history. 11:54 remaining here in the first half of action. Panthers in the series, by the way, we mentioned the fact that this is the 68th meeting between these two ball clubs. Warren Harding's won 36, Niles McKinley 19, and 12 games have wound up deadlocked, which is a pretty high percentage.
Well, it's a case in a game like this where you don't want to lose, so you'll take the tie.
Willie Perez on the dive play inside the 25-yard line down to about the 24-yard stripe. A 3-yard pickup on the play. 2nd down. Let's call it 7 yards to go for the Panthers.
Most of those ties probably occurred before the computers came along, so now I think if the situation happened, I think you would have to definitely try to go for the win. Even though you do get a half a point for a tie, you definitely want the points to win.
Arnold will split to the right side. Robert Murray split to the left side. Man in motion is Reuben Osborne as Color on the dump pass, incomplete. Intended for Alan Codwell at the 15, but almost tipped into Robert Murray's hands down at the 10-yard line. Incompleted pass will set up a 3rd down situation for the Panthers. 3rd down, 7 yards to go from the Niles McKinley 24-yard line.
Well, Cap, on that play, as has been most of Keller's passes, except for the one long shot to Arnold that was incomplete, it's just a short look-in pass. You don't want to give the defense time to chase you around the backfield. You just want your offensive line to hold their blocks for 2-3 seconds, give Keller a chance to find an open receiver and pop it to him.
Arnold this time will line up on the left side. Man in motion again, Osborne. Here we go with the wide receiver screen to Arnold. This time defense by Niles McKinley. Ron Yollery providing the initial hit, and number 10 for the defensive unit. Kevin Hake also coming up to stop Arnold. It'll go as no gain on the play and set up a 4th down, 7-yard to go situation for the Panthers.
Well, I definitely have to look for some kind of pass play because that's a long field goal. That'd be 41 yards. There's no wind to contend with, but if you don't make it, you know, you only pick up 5 yards, and Niles would have the ball at their own 20.
This time Arnold split to the right side. High formation behind quarterback Harley Color with 10:30 remaining second quarter. Wing back reverse to Arnold. 25, 20, 15 down to the 12-yard line. That will be good enough for a 1st down for the Panthers. Wide receiver reverses. Frank Thomas pulling out all the stops here in the ball game. We've only played a little over 1 quarter of action. The Panthers again threatening to score.
That's the 5th first down by Harding. That's the first one rushing. They've had 3 passing and 1 by penalty. Again, you had all the flow going to the right side. Niles took the movement. Keller pitched the ball back to Arnold, as we'll see, and we saw there. And there was nobody there except one man, and the man made the tackle, or it would have been 6 more points for the Panthers.
10 minutes remaining first half. Ball carrier inside the 10. Reuben Osborne down to the 8-yard line. 3-yard pickup on the play. That'll set up 2nd down. 2nd down and 7 for the Panther 1st down. 8 for the touchdown. Number 54 from the Niles McKinley defensive unit, John D'Alessandro, 231-pound tackle. Making the stop on Osborne. 2nd and 7 for Warren Harding as Murray will split to the right side. Again, the eye behind quarterback Harley Color. There's a good shot of it. Option play. Color trying to turn the corner and for the touchdown. Harley Color following the blocking of Robert Murray moves it in for the second Panther TD of the ball game. That coming with 9 minutes, 21 seconds remaining first half.
That drive capped 41 yards, 7 plays, 2 minutes and 39 seconds as they had the ball. We'll see it again. Keller on the naked reverse. Church and Murray there are good blocks, and Keller scoots into the end zone for the 13th point of the ball game.
Keller to attempt the extra point. Ball is down, kick is in the air, and again Harley Keller is perfect with his extra point attempt. So with 9 minutes 21 seconds remaining here in the first half, the score now reads the Panthers 14 and Niles McKinley nothing.
Well, Cap, Harding's not really had bad field position. They had the ball the first time they had it from their own 10-yard line because of the excellent kickoff by Niles and excellent punt by Niles. Then they had the ball the second time on the Niles 31. This time they had the ball on the Niles 41. It makes it a little easier to score when you're on the other side of midfield. Now you got to see if John Lamonge has the capability of putting the ball up consistently, because when you're down 14-0, even though it's early in the second quarter, you got to show some kind of scoring to keep the team's hopes up.
Keller will kick off for the Panthers. And the deep men for Niles McKinley again will be Aaron Bonner, Carmen Hudson, Dana Cicero. They'll be standing back at about their own 10-yard line. 14-0, Warren Harding with the lead, and Harley Keller getting set to put the ball in play one more time for the Panthers. Kickoff by Keller will be taken by Cicero at the 17-yard line. Cicero to the 20. Cicero slips as he makes this cut at the 23-yard line. Finds that hole. He's going to pick up big running room, but lost his footing at the 23. In fact, they're putting him down at the 24-yard line. So a 7-yard kickoff return by Dana Cicero. First down, 10 yards to go for the Red Dragons.
Well, we saw the fog last night at Liberty, Cap, and I got to believe the turf is a little bit damp in all high school fields this weekend, because it was a real fog storm this morning, and you know, we don't see it now, but the grass still got to be wet.
Lining up in the power I formation in the backfield. Lamonge gives the ball, I believe, to Cicero up to the 25-yard line, about a yard pickup on the play. Number 54 making initial contact, left side linebacker John Church. Second down, 9 yards to go for the Red Dragons.
That's another young man that goes both ways, Cap. You know, I hate to toot my own horn here, but the kid punts for him, and he plays offensive guard, and he's also defensive captain. So, again, that's another one that could start to tire as the game goes on this late in the season. Excuse me.
Second down, 9 yards to go from their own 25. Here we go on the wingback reverse. A little bit of running room, 25, and really hammered at the 27-yard line. Aaron Bonner, the ball carrier, and George Riddle with his second vicious hit here in the first half of action.
Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander there, Cap. Harding on the end around or wingback reverse picked up 11 yards with Arnold. This time Niles tried their version of it, as we'll see here. Bonner has a good path and a real strong tackle by Riddle there.
Third down, 7 yards to go for Niles McKinley with 7 minutes 35 seconds remaining first half. Guillory will flank to the right side. Bonner split to the left side. Lamonge to throw. Lamonge getting pressure. Lamonge gonna be sacked, and again number 30. No, that is number 76. Let's change it again. That's number 75, Travis Jackson, with the sack on Lamonge, all the way back at the 18-yard line of Niles McKinley. Travis Jackson putting on a show that time. A loss of about 9 on the play in a fourth down punting situation for Niles.
Here we have
McKinley.
another look at it, Cap. There you see it. Travis Davis, not to be denied, come right up the gut. Lamonge didn't have nothing to do, but hope he didn't get hit too hard, and deep territory for Niles again.
Prox back at his own 5-yard line. High snap from center. Panthers going for the run back. Short kick by Prox, hitting at the 45 and rolling across the 50 and out of bounds at the Warren Harding 47-yard line.
35-yard punt that time, Cap. Harding again with excellent field position on their own 47 with 6:42 left in the first half. If they put this one on the board, it could be a long second half for the Niles McKinley Red Dragons.
The most points Warren Harding has scored in one ball game coming into this one, 18 against the Massillon Tigers back in the third game of the year. So they do score another touchdown. That'll be a season high for Warren Harding. High in the backfield. Ball carrier is Alan Caldwell for virtually nothing. Number 55, Terry Howe, making initial contact for Niles McKinley. Helping him out, number 74 on the defensive side, 200-pound defensive tackle Brian Lilly. Second down, 10 yards to go for the Panthers.
Well, Harding looks like they're going to try and ground it out this time. Of course, they've shown that before, and then when Niles gets sucked into the middle, then they either run the wingback reverse or find Arnold open on the sidelines.
Arnold split right side this time. Keller to throw, down and out pattern, complete inside the 45, close to the first down. David Arnold on the receiving end one more time for Warren Harding. Came very, very close to picking up the necessary yardage for the first down. They're going to mark him down about a half yard shy of the 43-yard line. In fact, let's call it a full yard and call it third down, a long yard to go for the Panthers.
Keller showing excellent passing here, Cap. He's 5 of 8 for 55 yards, so the young man can put the ball in the air and does it with great ability.
20 for 57 coming into this one. Averaging close to 14 yards per completion. Ball carrier, Brown, Robert Brown, very close to the first down. Robert Brown, the young man who scored the Warren Harding touchdown in the first quarter. Very, very close to the necessary yardage, and we may have our first measurement of the ball game.
Looks like we're going to, Cap. Ted Humphrey waves off the clock, stopping the clock with 5 minutes and 18 seconds in the second quarter. Harding ahead 14-0. It's either 4th and short or first down Harding on the Niles 43-yard line.
The 4th down, inches to go for the Panthers. And decision time for Frank Thomas.
It's a decision as far as what play you run, because they're moving the ball. There's no doubt about it. They've run, wingback reverses. They've run it off tackle. They've run it up the middle. It's just a case and fake it in the middle and throw the ball. I mean, he's got to have Niles on their heels, because they're definitely not getting a chance to set. He's running a lot of different plays against the Niles McKinley defense.
Dan Fenton, 180-pound sophomore, into the lineup for Warren Harding at an offensive tackle spot. 4th down, inches to go for Warren Harding. Harley Keller has the first down. Needed inches, picked up about 2 feet on the dive play, and the Panthers have their 6th first down of the ball game.
Well, when in doubt, Cap, you go to your power runner. Don't take any chances on missing a handoff or throwing an interception. Center to quarterback and let him run the ball up the middle.
5 minutes remaining second quarter. The Panthers 1st and 10 at the Niles McKinley 42-yard line. Keller getting pressure. He is going to be sacked way back at his own 45-yard line. Terry Howe, one of the ball players for Niles McKinley. Number 66, defensive captain Rob Blakely, also in on there for the Red Dragons. Big loss for the Panthers.
13-yard loss on that play. I was a little bit surprised, Cap. You got to give Niles McKinley credit, because here we'll see it again. Harding was grinding the ball out, running the clock out for the first half. He drops back to pass, and there you see 3 Red Dragons right in his face. So good pressure by the Niles McKinley defense.
Second down, 23 yards to go. They're going to spot it at their own 27. Drop play. Perez running room 50. Perez 45. Perez 40. Perez 30. Perez 20. Perez 10. Willie Perez for the touchdown. 53 yards for Willie Perez to score the Panthers' 3rd touchdown of the ball game. The score coming with 4 minutes, 10 seconds remaining first half, and Warren Harding opens it up to a 20-0 lead.
That's right, Cap. That drive, 53 yards, 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Willie Perez on a 53-yard run right here. Just a delayed draw. Good block there by the offensive right tackle, and Perez does it on his own. It's a track meet to the corner.
Keller to attempt the extra point. Ball is down, kick is in the air, and this time off to the right side. Nevertheless, with 4 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the first half, the score: Warren Harding 20, Niles McKinley nothing.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see with 4:10 left in the first half what the Red Dragons do. They've definitely got to think about putting the ball up and running draw plays. They can't try and grind it out because Harding won't let you do that. I mean, Harding's been a good defensive ball club all year. Their most points given up was, I can't even remember, 14 to Youngstown East 6 weeks. They're tough when you get inside their 20, and it's tough to even get there. So Bill Leonard and his troops have their work cut out for them.
Keller to kick off to one of those three men right there. Dana Cicero to the right side of your screen. Aaron Bonner and Carmen Hudson back with him. 20-0. The Panthers right now with the most points that they have scored in one ball game during the course of the 1984 season. And we still have 4 minutes, 10 seconds remaining first half. Keller on the kickoff, line drive kickoff. Cicero at the 18. Cicero 20, Cicero 25, following his blocking to the 30 to the 35-yard line. Nice run back by Dana Cicero. 17-yard, a flag on the play. Dead ball flag. We are going to have personal foul against Warren Hutting. That will cost the Panthers 15 more.
Well, there's no reason for that, Cap. It was a nice run back, like you said, with Cicero handling the ball. And good tackle there, but a little bit of over-exuberance, and a Harding Panther falls on late. Unsportsmanlike personal foul there, and Niles will have the ball at midfield.
So this will give the Red Dragons an opportunity to get back into the ball game before halftime. Still have all 3 timeouts remaining. And let's see if Lamonge goes to the airways. He'll have Bonner to the left side. Dana Cicero slotted left side. I formation in the backfield behind him. Lamonge to put it up. Getting protection. Fires the football. It is intercepted at the Warren Hutting 42-yard line. On the far sideline, let's see who picked it off for the Panthers. Number 23, Kenny Ash, with the interception, and Warren Harding doing absolutely nothing wrong here in the first half. Again, had good field position at their own 42-yard line, and they can just about put this ball game away right here and now by scoring before halftime.
Well, there you see it. Lamonge drops deep, and I don't know, looked to me like maybe the receiver could have played a little bit of defense there and slapped the ball down. The ball was thrown a long way, but it was thrown wide, and it gives the defensive man a chance to cut in front and make the interception.
Willie Perez breaking a couple of tackles across the 45 up to the 46-yard line. Came in with a total of 374 yards rushing and 81 attempts entering the ball game, and having a pretty fair first half, Bob.
Right, Cap. He's got 6 carries for 63 yards. He had the big one for 53, but you got to give this kid credit. He's all of 5'8", 167 pounds, and this young man will give you every ounce he's got, and he's a definite big-hearted ball player.
Arnold split to the right side. Second down, 7 yards to go. Option play. Running room. Caldwell 50. Caldwell 45. Caldwell down at the 45-yard line of Niles McKinley. Ron Yullery making the tackle, but that pickup, a 9-yard variety, enough for another Warren Harding first down.
That's the 8th first down for Harding, Cap.
2 minutes, 45 seconds remaining second quarter. Panthers still with all 3 timeouts remaining.
I'd be very surprised this time. I'll say it right now. I'd be very surprised to see him put the ball in the air. They got Niles really confused now, and if they put the ball in the air, it'd be a chance to turn the ball over.
Draw play, a little bit of running room for Alan Caldwell. Gets down to the 42-yard line, a pickup of 3 on the play. Second down, 7 yards to go for Warren Hutting.
Caldwell's having a fine ball game. He carried the ball so far tonight 3 times for 13 yards. So he's showing that if you key on Perez, he can handle the pigskin as well.
Scott Woods, number 53, from his linebacking spot, making the stop on Caldwell. Now down to the 2-minute mark remaining second quarter. Arnold will split to the right side. Second down, 7 yards to go for Warren Hutting. Keller, bootleg, or option right side to Reuben Osborne. Breaks one tackle, gets down to the 40 and pays for it.
I don't think I'd go back to the huddle and thank Keller for that pitch. Osborne did all he could to find the football, and then he has 3 Red Dragons to face, and it's not an enviable task at any means.
They're going to mark him down at the 41-yard line, so virtually no gain on the play, and a third down and about 7 situation for the Panthers.
But again, they're just grinding it out, trying to run the timeout if they can score it. Oh, we got timeout Warren Harding. That's their first timeout. We now have 1 minute and 23 seconds left to go in the first half. Harding leads the Red Dragons 20-0. Harding next week has Ursuline here at Mollenkoff, and Niles McKinley gets Boardman. And Boardman is a surprise, Cap. They're beating some people, and a guy who transferred from Lakeview High School over to Boardman High, Bill Boren, is turning that school football team around.
Bill Bourne's surprise move on his part, because he was supposed to be gearing up for this, the 1984 campaign up at the Cortland High School, and making the move back into major high school football ranks down at Boardman in the Still Valley Conference. And evidence of the job that Bill Bourne did up at Lakeview is the fact that Phil Kopko's come down, and he has a powerhouse in the Lakeview Bulldogs. And as you mentioned, we'll be looking at Lakeview next week as they take on the Liberty Leopards.
Right, Cap. So, you know, Boren's doing a real fine job at Boardman. Kopko comes in. Like we talked about earlier, you know, Lakeview has a powerhouse. We've seen them once. We'll see them a couple more times, and they've got a real nice ball club. It's a shame that somebody can't beat La Brea if you're a Lakeview fan, but Paul Kopko and his team and his staff up at Lakeview have nothing to be ashamed of, and they've got some real nice games left on their schedule.
3rd and 7 for the Panthers at the 41 of Niles McKinley. Keller to throw, has a man wide open, incomplete at the 33-yard line. Alan Caldwell tried to run with the ball before he securely latched onto it. He also had a blocker in front of him in the person of Dave Arnold. But the 4th down incompleted pass will set up a punting situation for Warren Harding.
If it were me right now with a minute 19, you got to kick the ball. Let's see, Church is average. He's only kicked the ball one time for 35 yards. Right now, that'd be about an ideal kick and put the ball down on about the Niles McKinley 6-yard line. And with a minute 19 left, that's 94 yards to go. That's a long trek.
John Church to do the booting from his own 46-yard stripe. Oh, we'll get a flag on that one. John Church getting the kickoff. Fumble on the play at the 18-yard line, and the Panthers recover. Ball had some backspin on it and bounced right into the back of one of the Niles McKinley ball players. And even though we have the roughing the kicker flag back at the 50-yard line, I believe Warren Harding's going to get the ball, Bob, down at the 18-yard line.
Cap. The Niles McKinley Red Dragon was so into blocking and covering for the punt return that he didn't pay any attention to where the ball was. They disregard the roughing call, as Ted Humphrey showed you there on the signal, and Harding will have the ball 1st and 10 on the 19-yard line. And if you don't put 7 on the board, you got to drive it down. Here we'll see it again. Good pressure by Niles McKinley. Too much pressure in this case. John Church gets roughed. There you'll see the ball bounce up and hit the Niles McKinley Red Dragon. Harding's got the ball 1st and 10 on the Niles 19 with a minute 10 left.
1st down, 10 yards to go, still with 2 timeouts remaining. Here we go on the wing back reverse, wide open, 15, 10, 5, in for the touchdown, David Arnold. Excellently executed wide receiver reverse. Nobody within 10 yards of Arnold that time, and the Panthers extend their lead to 26-0 with 56 seconds remaining 2nd quarter.
One play, 19 yards, 14 seconds. Not much you can say about that drive. The only man close to Arnold on that play was the official. Excellent call. Here we'll see it again. There's nothing to say. It's a wide open play. Arnold has nobody there. The official's there. He didn't even want to get in the way.
2-point conversion attempt by the Panthers. It is good. Harley Keller gets the snap from center and tosses to Alan Caldwell for the 2-pointer. With 56 seconds remaining 2nd quarter, the Panthers lead 28-0.
Well, now you might see something for Niles. I don't know what you say for Niles. You're down 28-0. There's not much you can do. They've tried a lot. You threw one pass, you got intercepted. You just got to try to keep control of the ball, not let Harding get it back for the last minute of the second quarter, and try and go in and regroup your troops. There's got to be a few weaknesses that Bill Leonard's seen, but he has to find them and open them up.
Keller will do the kicking off for the Panthers. Just like we talked in the pregame, a case of plugging away on the things that you know are going to work, and all of a sudden everything just seeming to come together here for the Warren Harding offense in the 7th game of the 1984 campaign. Keller doesn't want to risk a big run back. Whoa, hit at the 36-yard line. That's where Niles will put it in play. First down, 10 yards to go. Red Dragons still with all 3 timeouts remaining. Returning the kickoff for about 8 tough yards. I think that's number 25. Chuck Martin.
He'll ask somebody else to play up front next time because he got crunched. That's a job that doesn't go real well deserved either, Cap, is the front man on a kick return, because if the ball comes to you, you do one of 2 things. You either run with it or fall on it. If you fall on it, they say, well, why didn't you run with it? And if you run with it, you get hit like that.
Lamonge on the sweep. It's Dana Cicero across the 40 out of bounds on the near sideline at the 43-yard line. Reuben Osborne and Dave Arnold making the tackle. It'll go as a 5-yard pickup for Cicero. 28 seconds remaining, second quarter. Second down, 5 yards to go for the Red Dragons.
Well, Harding's covering the field real well on defense. They've thrown the ball wide. It was intercepted. They ran the ball wide. Cicero did a nice job. He picked up 7 yards, but there were 3 guys around the ball when he got to the sideline. So Harding's defending the field all over.
Second down, 5 yards to go. Sweep to the left side. Ullery with the blocker. Ullery 45, Ullery 49-yard line. That will be good enough for Niles McKinley, first down. And that is the first down of the ball game for the Red Dragons. Comes with 22 seconds remaining in the half. Niles McKinley still with their full allotment of timeouts remaining. But the clock continuing to wind down. Kenny Ash limping off to the sidelines. This could be the last play of the first half. Right up the gut into Warren Harding territory, down to the Panther 45-yard line. 2 seconds, 1 second, and there's the horn indicating the end of the first half. Flag on the play. Have a dead ball violation. Wait a minute, play. The half may not be over. Carrying the football was Carmen Hudson that time. There was a dead ball foul on the play, and if it's against Warren Harding, it is a personal foul against the Panthers, so the Red Dragons will have 1 play remaining.
Well, Cap, you don't do things like that because you give the offense a chance to run 1 more play, and I got to believe Lamonge is going to go for all the marbles. You know, you're down 28-0. You have nothing to lose.
The game or the half cannot end on a penalty against the defense. That's the case that we have right here, even though there is 1 second remaining on the clock. Even if no time was left on the clock, the Red Dragons still would be allowed to run off 1 more play. Tom Turner, one of the defensive coaches for Warren Harding, doing his usual fine job, trotting off to the sidelines. Also an excellent softball player.
One of the best in Trumbull County. He can hit the long ball. He's on a nice ball club, too.
Here we go. Last play of the first half. Lamonge to throw. Lamonge into the end zone. Intercepted and dropped by Vincent Galladay. Aaron Bonner had a shot at it, so did Galladay. Galladay almost coming up with the interception, and that is the last play of the second quarter. So at halftime, in the 68th meeting between Warren Harding and Niles McKinley, the score, the Panthers 28, Niles McKinley nothing. We'll be back with halftime information, statistics, and more for you. But first, we're going to pause for this message. Ohio, there you see the halftime score. Excellent halftime performance by the Niles McKinley marching band. But unfortunately for Red Dragon fans, the Panthers up on top 28-0, and quickly, let's go through the scoring in the first half. All belonging to Warren Harding, of course, in the first score of the ball game occurred with 2:45 remaining in the first quarter, when Robert Brown, the junior 185-pound running back for Frank Thomas's ball club, took the ball off the 5-yard line. The Niles McKinley 5 went off tackle and went into the end zone for the touchdown. That play culminated a 30-yard drive set up by a 17-yard Willie Perez punt return. It took the Panthers 7 plays to move the 30 yards and score the first touchdown of the ball game. Harley Keller converted on the extra point, and that's something that has been plaguing the Panthers all year. But this time the kick was good. Warren Harding led 7-0. That's the way the first quarter ended. Second quarter, the Panthers added 3 more touchdowns, and in the process scored the most points that they have in this ball game in the first half than they have in any entire ball game during the course of the campaign. Second touchdown for the Panthers, the first one of the second quarter, occurred when Harley Keller on an 8-yard bootleg around his own right end. It came with 9:21 remaining in the second quarter, and the Panthers at that point led 13-0. Keller converted to make it a 14-0 score. Panthers came back with their third touchdown of the ball game. They had the ball at the 42-yard line of Niles McKinley, and then Harley Keller sacked on the next play all the way back to the Warren Harding 43-yard line. It set up a 2nd and 23, and on that play, Keller on the draw play gave the ball to Willie Perez, found an opening, went to the outside, and raced virtually untouched into the end zone for his 6th touchdown of the year. 53-yard run by Perez came with 4:10 remaining in the first half. This time the extra point attempt by Keller was no good wide right, but Warren Harding led 20-0. And then the final Warren Harding score came with 56 seconds remaining in the half, when after a John Church punt, the ball bounced into the back of one of the Niles McKinley blockers at the 19-yard line of the Red Dragons. The Panthers recovered on the first play. They sent wide receiver Dave Arnold on a reverse around his own left end. From the 19-yard line, Arnold raced into the end zone for the touchdown. The extra point attempt, a 2-point conversion attempt, Harley Keller completing the pass to Alan Caldwell in the end zone. That made it 28-0, and that's where we stand here at halftime. The Panthers leading Niles McKinley by a score of 28-0. Bob?
Thank you, Cap. Looking at the first half statistics, Warren Harding had 22 rushing plays, good for 123 yards. They passed the ball 10 times. They completed it 5 times for 57 yards. Harding's offense, 32 plays for 180 yards. The Niles McKinley Red Dragons had 13 rushes for 15 yards. They were 1 of 4 in the air for 4 yards. They had 17 plays for 19 yards. Penalties, Harding had 2 for 30. Niles McKinley 2 for 20. Harding had 9 first downs. Niles McKinley had 1. That came late in the first half. The punting, Broxford Niles McKinley punted the ball 4 times for a 35.5-yard average. Harding had to punt the ball once. They punted it twice, but they were roughed once, so John Church averaged 35 yards on his 1 punt. And looking at it statistically, the scoreboard tells the truth. It's Harding in a big way, 28-0. The Harding band is now on the field and will go down and catch a number of their halftime act. ball in Cobb Stadium. The Harding Panthers lead the Niles McKinley Red Dragons 28-0. And Cap, looking down the road, as you see the Majorettes getting ready for their halftime routine, what do you foresee as far as, you know, Lakeview's got a shot for the playoffs and Kennedy has a shot for the playoffs. What do you foresee for those AA schools?
That's going to be the key game of the season for both Lakeview and John F. Kennedy. It occurs on the last game or last weekend of the season, I believe, at Lakeview this year, when the Eagles and the Bulldogs get together, and that will mean a playoff spot. I really think the way that both teams are going right now, that game will determine the winner of that ball game will get into the playoffs. They're both relatively close right now to that number 4 spot in their respective region. And that will mean that the winner's going to get a lot of points going into the 10th game of the campaign. Now, John F. Kennedy this weekend has a team that always gives them a problem. The Girard Indians. They've split the last 4 games with John F. Kennedy. It seems like Girard, just for some reason or another, one of those things you really can't explain in sports, has the number of John F. Kennedy. Now, the Eagles are 3-0. And Girard 2-0 in the Mahoning Valley Conference next weekend. As we mentioned, Friday we'll be taking a look at the Lakeview Bulldogs and their Trouble AA League clash with the Liberty Leopards. Saturday afternoon we're going to be looking at the Girard Indians as they take on a tough Poland Bulldog club down at Poland. And then the following weekend we'll again be looking at Poland as they come up here to Molotov Stadium to take on the Warren John F. Kennedy Eagles. So Kennedy or Lakeview, last game of the year, prediction time. Whoever wins that ball game will go into the playoffs.
That's what's nice about the playoffs. You could be 7-3, 8-2, and it sounds funny, but if you lose the right games, you could get into a playoff spot. Whereas, you know, you're out of the conference race, like you know, Lakeview might be. Who knows? Kennedy may even be. I don't think so, but they might be. And it comes down to the last week of the season. That's where bumps and bruises don't feel as bad. But that's what's nice about the computer race. Back down to the field for some more halftime with the Warren Harding Majorettes, and he works hard for the money. That was a fine performance by the Warren Harding Majorettes, and we'll be back with more halftime in the beginning of the 3rd quarter right after this timeout. Got this break, I'd like to congratulate also the homecoming attendance. Kim Wallace's court consisted of Joanne Miller and Esther Bacaris, or Bakeris. I don't want to hammer it too bad, but that's the court that attended Kim Wallace, and congratulations to those 3 young ladies.
Bacaris is correct.
We'd also like to pass our wishes for sympathy and our condolences to the family of George Fenton. His father passed away, I think it was Tuesday afternoon, and our heartfelt sympathy goes out to the family. And right now, to start the 3rd quarter, the voice of Pilot 9 Sports, John Capranis.
Okay, Bob Church, thank you very much. Niles McKinley will kick off to open up the 3rd quarter, and the Panthers to do the receiving. Number 77, there you see him, Jim Gundros, will have the honors for Bill Leonard's ball club. And the deep men for Warren Harding standing at about their own 15-yard line. Willie Perez and Vince Galladay. 28-0, the Panthers with the lead, and I'd like to second those sentiments you just passed on, Bob. Bugs Fenton, certainly a good friend. And a fine official in his own day. Here we go. Kickoff time for Niles McKinley. 3rd quarter is underway. Galladay at the 20, 25. Galladay 30. Galladay 35. Galladay 40 up to the 41-yard line. 21-yard return by Vincent Galladay, and that's where the Panthers will put it in play. 1st down, 10 yards to go at their own 41-yard line. And again in the offensive backfield for the Panthers, an offensive backfield that has certainly sparkled in the first 2 quarters of play. Quarterback number 12, Harley Culler. The running back behind him, number 9, Willie Perez. And the deep man in the slot, number 33, Alan Caldwell. Caldwell, the ball carrier, 45, Caldwell 50, Caldwell 48-yard line of Niles McKinley, very close to a 1st down. Ninth first down for the Panthers, and the man who carried the ball, Alan Caldwell's father, also a star for Warren Harding back in the early 60s.
That's Caldwell's 5th carry for 23 yards. So as I said earlier in the first half, Caldwell can tote the pigskin as well as Willie Perez. So they've got a double barrel attack in the backfield.
High in the backfield again. This time no, that's Robert Brown, the ball carrier, inside the 45 down to the 42-yard line. Panthers offensive line just dominating play here in the opening minute of the third quarter. That time a 6-yard pickup on the play. Second down, 4 yards to go for Warren Harding.
Well, if you're Frank Thomas, Cap, you got to start thinking. I mean, you got a 28-0 lead, and these kids are the ones that have played the whole season for you. They've got to be a little tired. They got to be a little bit worn down. You might see some substitutes early in the third quarter if Harding puts some points on the board in this quarter.
Willie Perez across the 40 down close to the first down at the 37-yard line. It is good enough for the Panthers' 10th first down of the ball game. Willie Perez came into this ball game averaging about 62 yards per contest. He eclipsed that in the first half.
He's got 68 yards with 7 carries, Cap, so everything he does now is above and beyond and will help the average.
First down, 10 yards to go. Brown in motion. Ball carrier, Caldwell, running room 30, Caldwell 25, Caldwell 20, Caldwell 10, Caldwell 5, Alan Caldwell! Wait a minute, he's out of bounds. Out of bounds back at the 10-yard line. Apparently just stepped out of bounds. Nevertheless, it'll be a 21-yard gallop for Alan Caldwell all the way down to the 10-yard line of Niles McKinley.
There we have another look at it. It's just right off left tackle, and Caldwell does all of that on his own. There you see the 1 foot out of bounds, and he's out of bounds on the Niles 10, 1st and 10, with 10 minutes 11 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Ball carrier Brown hit hard right at the line of scrimmage. Again, number 10 on the defensive unit for the Red Dragons, Kevin Hay, coming up to make the stop. Give him about a yard on the play. Call it second down, 9 yards to go for the Panther touchdown. Yeah, somebody calling a timeout. Stopping the clock with 9:50 remaining in the third quarter. I believe it was Niles McKinley. If so, that of course is the first Red Dragon timeout of the second half of action.
Right, they must, if nothing else, they might be trying to stop the momentum, because Harding started this drive on their own 41, and now they've got the ball 2nd and 10 on the Niles 10, so they've traveled like 49 yards, and it's only taken them about 2 minutes. So, you try and get your defense back together and slow the offense down. You're not out of the ball game, but you definitely can't let Harding put any more points on the board.
Our cameraman Joe Sabat, congratulations to him and his lovely wife, the new Mrs. Sabat.
She let him out tonight, huh?
Let him out tonight. Friday night out on the town, a week after getting hitched up.
I'll tell you what, he'll be in real trouble if he goes out again tomorrow night. 3 nights in the same week, you'll be at home for a month. Don't let my wife hear that. Again, that's a shot of Mike Hutzig, Niles boy. Shouldn't call him a boy. Niles native, I guess, is the better word. Helping work the chain crew here at Mollenkoff. Well, whatever had to be said has been taken care of, and we've now got 2nd and 9 from the Niles 9-yard line. Again, 9:50 remaining in the third quarter. Harding leads this ball game 28-0.
They'll line up in the I formation in the backfield. Willie Perez, I believe Alan Caldwell behind him. Harley Culler gonna throw, fires into the flat area, incomplete at the 5-yard line. Intended receiver on the play, number 15, Reuben Osborne. Pass underthrown. That will set up a 3rd down situation for the Panthers. 3rd down, 9 yards to go for the TD with 9:46 remaining third quarter. Panthers in the first half in the 3rd down conversion attempt category, 2 out of 6. Didn't do too much wrong in the first 2 quarters of play. Stanley Owens to the left side. Dave Arnold to the right side. Third down from the Niles McKinley 9-yard line. Ball carrier Perez, and he's going to be hammered right at the line of scrimmage. Good defensive play that time. I believe it was Terry Howell in on the stop.
Yeah, it was, Cap. Number 55 right there in the middle of your screen. Wouldn't let Perez get any running room and shut him down very quickly.
So that'll set up fourth down and a possible field goal attempt by the Panthers.
Well,
it is.
This has been one area of the game that Harding's been struggling. So this is a shot where they've got to try and get some confidence built up.
Tony Waite to hold. Color to attempt. Ball is down. Kick is in the air. The kick by Color is long enough. It is good. Splits the uprights on a 26-yard field goal with 9 minutes, 6 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. And the Panthers increase their lead to 31-0 over Niles McKinley.
Well, Cap, that drive took 8 plays to go 59 yards, and it took Harding 2 minutes and 54 seconds to get you that score that we've got right there on the board, 31-0 in favor of Harding. As I said, that's got to build some confidence. It may be a little late in the season to build confidence, but at least now you know you've got a kicker that can get the ball up, and it could prove very, very opportunistic down the line.
And look at next week when Youngstown Ursuline comes into play Warren Harding right here at Mollenkopf Stadium. Youngstown Ursuline, of course, vying for the Still Valley Conference crowns with crosstown rival Cardinal Mooney and Austin Town Pitch. And it could be just in the nick of time as far as the Panthers are concerned to take on the Irish. Harley Keller to kick off. Line drive kick. That'll be taken by Cicero at the 18. 20, 25, 30. Oh, hit at the 32 and up to the 33-yard line goes Dana Cicero. Making initial contact for the Panthers, number 35 on that kickoff defense team, Robert Brown. And the Red Dragons have it for the first time in the third quarter, now trailing by a score of 31-0.
Well, also along them same lines, Cap, along with Ursuline coming in here next week, Harding travels to Fitch in 2 weeks, so they could have a voice in who wins the Steel Valley Conference title.
High in the backfield, ball carrier Ullery trying to turn the corner, gonna be hemmed in. Maybe picked up a yard up to the 34-yard stripe, but the Panthers doing an excellent job of stringing out the end sweep by Ullery. They're going to give him 2 yards up to the 35-yard line. Number 41 for Warren Harding, Robert Brown in on the stop.
Also on that play, Cap, number 14, Tony Waite, the backup quarterback, who also goes both ways for Frank Thomas's Panthers. Number 41 fought off the interference, and Waite was right there, and Ullery fell in the waiting arms of Tony Waite for a 2-yard gain, 2nd and 8 on the Niles 35.
High in the backfield. Sweep right side. That's Dana Cicero with a blocker, but he's going to be tackled back at the 32-yard line. Fighting off the tackle and coming up to make the stop for Warren Harding. Number 23, the Panther back, Kenny Ash. A 3-yard loss on the play, 3rd down, and about 12 yards to go for the Niles McKinley first down.
Well, Bill Leonard did it early in the first quarter. He tried to run it up the middle and pinch the tackles in, and it worked for him. He's trying the opposite philosophy this half. He's trying to run wide, and Harding won't let him have it, so it could be passing time here, 3rd and 12 on the 32-yard line.
Cicero flanked to the left side. Lamont on the drop play. No running room at all. Ron Ullery tackled by big number 75, Travis Davis from the Panther front 4. That'll set up a 4th down punting situation for the Red Dragons. They'll spot the ball at the Niles McKinley 33-yard line. Willie Perez. And I believe Ruben Osborne now back in double punt return set up for the Warren Harding Panthers. Prox to do the booting from his own 20. Booms one out of there. High spiraling kick. Osborne all the way back to his own 25-yard line. To the 30, 35, and hit high to the 39-yard stripe. Another fine punt by Jeff Prox. And the Panthers will put it in play, first down, 10 yards to go.
42-yard punt that time by Prox, Cap. He's getting the ball well in the air. He's only had one bad punt for 28 yards, and that put Harding in good field position in the second quarter. and they drove it on to score. 6:24 in the third quarter, 31-0 Harding, and they have the ball in what has to be considered decent field position on their own 39-yard line.
Robert Murray will split to the left side. Arnold about 10 to the near side. High in the backfield. Ball carrier Caldwell. Look at that. Look at Caldwell. 40, 45. Caldwell 50 has a blocker. Caldwell 45, 40 and out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Excellent run by Alan Caldwell. What you call improvising right in the middle of a play. Couldn't find an opening on the left side and came completely across field and picked up big yardage for the Panthers.
Well, that was a 26-yard pickup, the 13th first down for Harding, and Caldwell went to the left, found no opening on the left side, so he cuts it back to the right and picks up 26 yards. We got a replacement at quarterback, Cap. That's Tony Waite. Here you see it again. Caldwell sees big number 81 in front of him. He says, well, if I can't go that way, I'll zip it back the other way. And as you see, it took a long time for Niles to break and get back over to the other side of the field.
Junior quarterback Waite to Caldwell as a blocker. 30, 25, out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. Willie Perez throwing the key block for Alan Caldwell, and Caldwell coming out here in the second half, really burning up a storm. In with a total of 69 yards rushing in 8 plays. Excuse me, 55. I'm going to read your writing again. What is that?
85 yards, Cap. I'm sorry. 85 yards and 8 carries, and he's picked up like 52 of that, 62 of that in this half. 39 of it on 2 plays.
He came in averaging just over 3 yards per carry over the course of the campaign. That average will go up. Willie Perez, the only man behind Wade. He has the football inside the 20, still on his feet to the 18, and really crunched at the 18-yard line. A pickup by Perez of about 3 on the play. Second down, along 6 yards to go for the Panthers. Five minutes, 14 seconds remaining. Third quarter. Warren Harding leading Niles McKinley 31-0, and the Panthers again on the move. Wing back reverse to Reuben Osborne down to the 15-yard line. That'll set up third down, about 2 yards to go for the Panthers.
Well, Cap, it looks to me like that, not to second guess Coach Thomas, but it looks like if you run the wing back reverse, you got to run it wide, because they ran it inside that time and Niles wasn't fooled at all. They picked up like 4 yards, but they run it twice for 30 yards earlier in the ball game. So you got to give Niles credit. They're tightening down in the middle.
Arnold will split to the right side. Again, Robert Murray about 5 to the left side. Third down, 2 yards to go for the Panther. First down. Ball carrier Caldwell cutting to the outside. 10, 5 has a blocker, and Caldwell into the end zone for the touchdown. Alan Caldwell taking it over from the 15-yard line. And now we're going to change everything and change that to Reuben Osborne on the carry. Number 15 with the TD instead of number 33. That'll bring out the erasers. As Reuben Osborne takes it over from the 15-yard line on an excellent run, and the Panthers now lead 37-0.
There you see it, Cap. He breaks it to the inside, finds nothing there, and scoots outside. Beats the Niles defender to the corner, and it's a 15-yard touchdown run with 4:25 in the third quarter. Spot is down, kick is up.
And Keller makes it a 38-0 score in favor of Warren Harding. Panthers with another impressive drive. Alan Caldwell, of course, with 2 long runs during the course of the drive, and Reuben Osborne with 4:25 remaining in the third quarter, taking it over from the 15-yard line for the touchdown.
61 yards on 6 plays, took 2 minutes and 5 seconds, and if you're Ursuline and Fitch and you're scouting, you got to have a little bit to think about. I mean, sure, Harding doesn't have a shot at the conference, but they're showing a lot of different ball players that can carry the ball. Osborne's got 27 yards in 4 carries. Caldwell's got 85 yards and 8 carries, and the workhorse of the ball club all year, Willie Perez, 9 carries, 72 yards. And also Dave Arnold with 2 carries for 30 yards. So Harding's showing the rest of the Steel Valley that they've got some guns to put up with for the rest of the season.
Most points scored by a Warren Harding team in the course of the 68-game rivalry against Niles McKinley. We'll get to that in a minute after the color kickout. Cicero at the 20, 25, blockers 30, 35, almost busted, still on his feet, up to the 40, to the 40-yard line. 20-yard return by Dana Cicero, the most points scored by Warren Harding against Niles McKinley in the 68-game history of this rivalry between the two Trumbull County schools. 40-point effort by the Panthers back in the fabled 1974 season when Warren Harding beat Niles McKinley 40-18. And now with the 38 points on the board, the Panthers have a chance to set the all-time record. One other time they scored 38 markers. That was back in 1923 when Warren Harding triumphed 38-0.
Oh, nice tackle there. He got sandwiched.
Lange with about a 2-yard pickup on the play. That'll set up second down. And 8 yards to go for the Red Dragons with 3:42 remaining third quarter.
Kenny Ash and Dimitri Leogas on the tackle there. They kind of sandwiched Lamonge for a 3-yard gain.
Alan Caldwell and Willie Perez.
The offensive attack for the Warren Harding Panthers. Willie Perez, see the big smile on the kid's face. He's got a big heart, and he'll give you 110% every game.
And Alan Caldwell, of course, his dad, a star with Warren Harding back in the early 60s. Halfback option. Kevin Hay gonna be sacked back at the 30-yard line. John Church making his big brother up here in the booth proud on that one. A sack of 10-yard loss on the play. It will set up third down. 18 yards to go for the Niles McKinley first down.
Well, there you see it again, Cap. Church runs between two Niles McKinley ball players, and nobody touched him. It was fair game for the defense, and John Church capitalized on that play. Got to be a little proud of that play. Another fine athlete. He's also a fine baseball player, although I shouldn't say that because that's kind of prejudice. But
well, according to his coach, baseball coach, Chucky Thomas, he definitely has the baseball ability to go a long, long way. On the draw play, running into his own blocker, and things are just not going at all well for Niles tonight. Dana Cicero had a chance to break it to the outside for big yardage, but unfortunately ran into one of his blockers at the 30-yard line. There's the athletic director for Warren Harding, doing his usual fine job.
Trying to get out of the camera angle right there. You don't want to be on camera, but Joe Sabat following him down the sidelines, and Pat does a fine job. Now with girls athletics getting to be as big as they are, the man has a real tough job ahead of him.
Jeff Prox on the punt, another fine punt by Prox. That Osborne Oled hit at the 40, rolled dead at the 35-yard line of Warren Harding. So the Panthers with 1:43 remaining in the third quarter, leading Niles McKinley by the surprisingly big score of 38-0. We'll have it one more time before the third quarter ends.
That was a 30-yard punt, Cap. The good thing about that, if you're Niles McKinley, there was no return on it. So Harding gets the ball on their own 36-yard line, and I look for a few more substitutes. Again, Tony Wade at quarterback, and I figured there's a few more new jerseys in there on the offensive line.
Wade, 170-pound junior quarterback, number 14. He'll give the ball to Galladay, who burst across the 40. Vincent Galladay up to the 42-yard line. 6-yard pickup on the play, second down, 4 yards to go for the Warren Harding first down.
Well, there's one clean jersey right there. Vince Galladay only carrying the ball for the third time in the ball game. 3 carries for 10 yards. So things are looking up for the Harding offense. Like I say, it may be a little bit too late. Vince Galladay, a 5'6", 156-pound junior, so that's a good sign for things to come.
Chuck Harris will split to the left side. Stanley Owen to the right side for the Panthers. High in the backfield. That's number 41, Ron Brown. Pickup of about 2 on the play up to the 44-yard line. Third down. Got it. 3 yards to go for the Warren Harding first down. Entire middle of the Niles defensive unit in on the stop. Terry Howe, he's coming out of the ball game. Excellent, excellent performer for Niles McKinley, number 55. Taking a breather with 20 seconds remaining third quarter.
Again, while we got a slight break here, let's go through the officials who are doing a fine job in this ball game. The referee, Ted Humphrey, also of USFL fame. The umpire, North Ender from Comstock Street, Joe Demore. Linesman, Bob Walker, who also works many fine NFL games. The line judge, Johnny Mang out of Youngstown, and the back judge, Ken Swanson, doing a fine job, and that's the end of the third quarter.
So after 3 here at Mollenkopf Stadium in the 68th meeting between Niles, McKinley, and Warren Harding, the score: the Panthers 38, the Red Dragons nothing. We'll be back with the 4th and final quarter of tonight's ball game. But first, we're going to pause for this message.
Service is a family tradition at Malise Appliance. For over 60 years, Malise has provided the area with the best selection of brand name appliances, backed with a reputation for dependable service and a courteous professional sales staff. At Malise, you'll find super savings on all famous lines.
Hi, Tom Lee here. The 85 Sylvanias are here. That means one thing: bargains on the 84s and deals on the 85s. But you want more: parts, service, delivery. You get it all at Malise.
When you're in the market for a new appliance, stop at Malise. You'll discover the difference those little extras make. Malise, Youngstown Road in Warren.
Back here at Mollenkopf Stadium before the start of tonight's 4th quarter. There you see the score: Warren Harding in a big one, 38-0 over the Niles McKinley Red Dragons. And a few new ball players in the ball game. Waite, we got Ron Brown, Vince Galladay in the backfield. So Frank Thomas is going to his 2nd team, and they're doing the job for him. Here's Cap.
3rd down, 3 yards to go from their own 43-yard line. Tony Waite, Jr., quarterback. Tony Waite on the bootleg, flips the ball, fumbled on the play, and Galladay recovers way back at the Warren Harding 37-yard line. Defensive end coming crashing in on Tony Waite, causing the near mishap for the Panthers. Nevertheless, it'll set up a 4th down and punting situation for Warren Harding. As John Church and the Warren Harding punt team comes on. Church will do the booting from about his own 25-yard line. Aaron Bonner, Dana Cicero back in double coverage for Niles McKinley. Red Dragons with too many men on the field, and Church will get the flag as he's bumped into by one of the Niles McKinley ball players. Ball goes down at the 38-yard line of Niles McKinley, but the Panthers will pick up a 1st down. Roughing the kicker will be called against Niles McKinley. Last time we had that flag, the Panthers recovered a fumble or muff punt, I guess you could call it, and moved it in for their final touchdown of the 1st half. And this time around, they'll get a 1st down.
2nd time Johns had to field a high snap, and they've both worked positive for him, because both times he's been roughed and both times Harding will retain possession of the ball. 3rd quarter stats, we've got Harding rushing the ball for 238 yards in the game. They've passed the ball 6 of 11 times for 57 yards for 295 yards. They've been penalized twice for 30 yards. They've got 14 first downs.
Well, we mentioned the fact that Niles had 12 men on the field. They're also going to be hit with a delay of game penalty. But the Panthers will take the major infraction, the roughing the kicker. And from the line of scrimmage, which was the Warren Harding 37-yard line.
Here you'll see it again. A little bit of a high snap. Church boots the ball and is roughed. And as Cap said, Harding will take the major infraction, retaining possession on the Niles 48-yard line. Getting to the Niles stats through 3 quarters, they've rushed the ball through 3 quarters for a grand total of 6 yards. They've passed the ball 1 of 4 times for 4 yards for a grand total of 10 yards. Harding defense is doing an excellent job. Niles has been penalized twice for 20 yards, and they've had 1 first down in the ball game. Time of possession: Harding 19:09, Niles McKinley 16:51.
Yeah, let's see what this one's about. That's the delay of game infraction. Could take them both. Ref?
I would guess. I'm not one to question officials yet. These guys have been around a while, but looks to me like, well, now we got confusion because Harding's got a guy running on the field late.
It's Robert Brown, the ball carrier, for a couple down to the Niles McKinley 42-yard line. And actually, let's see, from the 38-yard line, 15 yards, we'll take it to the 48 of Niles McKinley. That was for roughing the kicker. Then another 5-yard penalty on top of that for delay of game. To the Panthers after Brown's pickup of 3 yards. Have it 2nd down. About 6 yards to go for the 1st down. 10:35 remaining in the ballgame. Tony Waite. Gives the ball to Brown inside the 40 down to the 39-yard line. Be about a yard shy of the necessary yardage and set up a third down situation for the Panthers.
Well, it must have been a case where they got called for roughing the kicker while the ball was live, and then somehow they didn't make a decision or didn't get, well, a delay is not having enough men on the field is another 5 yards, so one's live ball, one's dead ball, so you got the 20-yard penalty.
And too many men on the field.
Too many, excuse me, one or the other.
10 minutes remaining in the ball game.
I'm getting this game down as well as the officiating game at the same time.
High in the backfield, 3rd and 1 and a flag. Encroachment, I believe, will be called. No, they're going to call possibly the procedure penalty against Warren Harding. That's what the Niles defensive linemen are indicating. It's going to be encroachment against Warren Harding. That'll move it back to the Niles McKinley 44-yard line.
That's only Harding's 3rd penalty for 35 yards. Cap Niles has been penalized 4 times for 40. There's a look at a few of the gentlemen who have carried Harding a long way. Reuben Osborne, Kenny Ash. Travis Davis and Donnell White also in the picture there.
3rd down, 6 yards to go for the Panthers from the Niles McKinley 44-yard line. Wait to throw. Wait fires into the flat, and Vincent Galladay, the intended receiver, lost his footing at the 42. It'll go as an incompletion and set up another punting situation for Warren Harding.
Well, that's about the only time right now you'll see any of the original starters, Cap, is